Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. Eagles, 7 Bridges Road, the most recent monthly members poll winner. A reminder that if you want to vote on these polls, you can do so by joining our Patreon. It's completely free, link in the description. Look, I'll cut to the chase. I don't know Eagles. I mean, I know Hotel California, of course. I say of course because I think it's one of those songs that a lot of people know. But I don't think I know any of their other songs. I just had a quick look on Google. Desperado sounds or looks familiar. Maybe I just like the drink a bit too much. But yeah, this song that we'll be listening to, it's audio only, recorded in 1980 from a live performance. I'm told that there were no studio recordings of this. I also just found out it's actually a cover song, the original from 1969. Eagles are a rock band, although it also says soft rock, country rock, folk rock. Formed in LA in the early 1970s, hugely successful, 6 Grammys, 6 #1 albums, 5 #1 singles. Clearly a great group of musicians. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
There are stars in the southern sky, southward as you go.
Ooh, Publishing 4-3.
There is moonlight and moss in the trees, down the 7 Bridges Road. Now I have loved you like a baby, like some lonesome child, and I have loved you in a tame way, and I have loved you wild. Sometimes.
All right, a little bit of a change there, it seems. I think based on the lyrics, I'll put the lyrics on the screen now. I think that's halfway through, or the first 2 verses, if I remember correctly. Well, that's cool. That's not what I was expecting at all. We start off with this, you know, this, just an open guitar chord. I'm thinking, okay, fair to be expected from country or rock music, having a guitar. But then
There are stars.
really powerful a cappella chordal homophonic singing. Homophonic meaning that they're just all singing the same words at exactly the same time as each other, moving with each other, that kind of thing. Yeah, really cool. I want to go into that a little bit. Also, it's a new band to the channel, a classic band. From my experience, copyright could be tough with this one, so I'm not going to take any chances. I will be pausing and doing a little bit of analysis on what we've heard so far. So here's your warning. If you don't want to hear any pauses and just want to hear the song all the way through with no one talking, well, I've linked it in the description for you. All right, that was a powerful opening. Very, very powerful. The style of singing, no vibrato pretty much at all. On the word moon, there was a little bit of vibrato, the wobbles on one of the inner parts.
There is moon.
On that note in the middle there. Otherwise, though, it's straight tone singing. Straight tone singing is much harder to sing in tune than singing with vibrato, believe it or not. Why? Well, vibrato essentially is very rapid, fluctuating between 2 notes. And because of that, it can mask tuning discrepancies. So it's a little bit more forgiving. When you sing with straight tone, you really have to be perfectly on tune. It's not as forgiving, especially when you sing in harmony with other people. So straight tone singing is very hard, and they've nailed it here. Now, it's not the most complicated arrangement, at least the chords, and I want to talk about what they've done with the chords to spice things up a little bit, to make it a bit more interesting. How you arrange the chords is very important, and I'll try and go over this quickly, otherwise I will just start rambling.
There are stars.
Okay, let me get my keyboard up. So we start off like this. The first chord we have is a D chord. And chords are made up of notes. So to fill out the rest of the chord, we also have and. Those three notes make up our D chord. In this example that I just played, D is on the bottom, so it's called root position. If we instead put this note on the bottom, then it would be, you can see it doesn't sound quite as firm, quite as strong. The note you have in the bass is always really important at the bottom. It's like the harmonic foundation. So if you move from to here, that's called a first inversion. And then if you move up again, so now you'd have this note on the bottom, that's a second inversion, arguably the weakest forms of the D chord. They open with this second inversion. They don't have a root position. They don't have first inversion. They have second inversion. Not quite as robust sounding. So then when they move to the second chord, this is root position. Why? Because it's a C chord and C is the note at the bottom. And doing this makes the drop down we get later on
And moss in the trees.
finishing in a root position chord, low down, really powerful. It gives it some sort of closure. Inverting chords like that, having a different note at the bottom, not the most strong sounding of chords, is a very powerful tool when it comes to a cappella singing. Not even a cappella, actually, just harmony singing in general. Like I mentioned, these opening chords.
There are stars in the sun.
It's the very first thing we hear in this song, other than the one single guitar chord, which kind of surprises us. Just solid harmony, no vibrato, more difficult, as I said.
Southern sky.
They're alternating between second inversion, weaker sounding, and root position, stronger sounding chords. So we open with second inversion, and then we move root position, and then we move again to second inversion, and then we finish again in the root position. And again, this is due to the lowest note in every chord. On the repeat, there's this really obvious dissonance.
You go.
Well, quite subtle actually, but it sounds quite obvious as well, because we're hearing, and then this part moves down early, so then we're left with this. If we bring all the notes close together, a big clash, but then it resolves. A clash like that in a cappella singing is super, super obvious. It's extremely intentional. Why did they do it? I don't know, but it's interesting. It's quirky. It's a talking point. And the eventual resolution is a bit more of like a moment. Then again, now the guitar comes in. All about the rhythms. We've got the boom, 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 boom type effect created in the lower strings of the guitar, and then the upper strings really giving this feeling of chugging along, almost like a train in a way. I know it's probably not meant to depict a train.
Now
Audience immediately clapping.
I have loved you like.
I'm just thinking, chaka, 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 chaka. And that carries on for the next 30 seconds until we paused about halfway through the song. The harmony doesn't change. It's the same as what we heard in the introduction. I like how they tease us with a guitar chord, then a cappella, and now they've merged the two. And obviously things are very bouncy and energetic now.
Like some lonesome child.
Some of the lines seem a bit more obvious or perhaps slightly changed, like one in the middle there. That is now standing out much more.
Like some lonesome.
Sung in the chest voice though, so much more powerful. And that's another great thing about the harmony. They have the full range, deep bass, we have falsetto, a couple of voices in the high chest voice one, more of a baritone. Great mix. All right, let's carry on. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. They again had one of those very obvious clashes. They're moving early.
Sometimes there's a part of me has to turn from here and go running like seven bridges road. There are stars in the southern sky, and if ever you decide you should go, there is a taste of time, sweet and honey, down the
crowd.
seven bridges road.
Some of those crowd members were loving it. Oh my goodness. The screams. Oh, I would love to know who those people were. That dissonance that we kept getting really has grown on me throughout the song. It's become almost like a staple of it. This is a song that's repetitive by nature. The harmony is basically the same throughout the whole song. We get a little change here.
Sometimes there's a part,
Which just goes hand in hand with the structural changes. If we kind of segment the song or compartmentalize it, what happens? Guitar to start with, but it's super short. A cappella section, then guitar, but the same harmony, so it's like layers building up. Now we have the guitar still, but the harmony section has been stripped. We just have one melody, one vocal line, no harmonies, but multiple people singing.
down the seven bridges road.
And then the harmony comes back in. We get that dissonance. We're all very familiar with it. I was really restraining myself not to sing along because I feel like you just kind of want to sing along on with this one. Then there was this guitar chord. The crowd clapping. I really thought the song was over. I was about to click pause, but when you do these videos, you have to play it a bit safe sometimes. So I played on.
There are stars,
The same a cappella as before, exactly the same. The occasional subtle change though.
and if ever you decide,
Now the upper part has moved up a little bit, just opening up the expanse of these harmonies just a little bit. Why? Well, a bit of variety. Would this have been planned? I don't know. I know there will be some of you commenting, oh, they're one of the best bands of all time. Of course, every single decision they made was pre-planned and meticulously planned. Yeah, probably. But with live performances, and you know, this is a live performance, they never recorded it. I doubt this is in a very formal setting. A cappella, a bit of fun. The crowd's clearly loving it. I know that there would be a lot of people who will just add in something a little bit different. Of course, if they have performed this loads of times and they always do this, then yeah, sure. But I like to think, having heard this just once, that this could have been like a little one-off bit of fun. And then of course, finishing completely a cappella.
there is a taste of time, sweet and honey.
And I really like how authentic the sound is. Just a warning for what I'm about to say next. If you're very defensive over Eagles or easily offended or triggered, maybe don't listen to my next sentence. Why I love the authentic sound is because the tuning, it's not perfect as in a studio recording that has pitch correction. I'm not saying that as a bad thing at all. The contrary, I'm saying I love it. It's basically perfect, and we know it's a live performance. Clearly great musicians, great singers, and the little imperfections that you have in recordings like this, in older recordings, I love. I think it adds so much character and shows us that what we're listening to really is an authentic bit of music.
Down the seven bridges road.
Seven Bridges Road, Eagles. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed and you want to help the algorithm out, I would appreciate a comment. You don't have to write any words. How about an eagle emoji like you see on the screen now? A like, of course, would also be very much appreciated. Once more, if you'd like to vote on these polls completely free, head on over to the Patreon linked in the description, and I will see you next time.